Have you ever woken up to something going wrong, a spilled cup of coffee, a frustrating text message, a painful moment, and found yourself saying something negative? And then, almost like clockwork, the rest of the day seems to follow the same tone, one small annoyance after another. It's not a coincidence. It's a quiet domino effect of how we talk about our lives. What if I told you that the words you speak to yourself in those first precious minutes after waking have the power to completely transform not just your day, but this entire chapter of your life? Welcome. I'm Vernon. A few years ago, I stumbled upon something quietly powerful. 5 simple but profound morning lines that helped me shift from limitation to possibility, from self-doubt to renewed meaning. Stay with me, especially for the number 3 affirmation, which completely shifted my perception about the relationship between gratitude and joy in these golden years. Let me show you how these 5 lines, spoken each morning, can become the keys that open the door to what might be your most fulfilling chapter yet. What we'll explore today are not mere positive affirmations. They're anchors, rooted in ancient wisdom and modern science that can gently guide you through this rich and complex stage of life. And morning is the perfect time. In traditions like Ayurveda, it's called Brahma Muhurta, the hour of creation, a moment when the mind is most open, and what we plant there can shape the entire day. Today, I'll walk with you through these 5 powerful lines, share stories of people who've used them to flourish into their 80s and 90s, and show you how to make them part of your daily rhythm. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more reflections that help you navigate life after 60 with clarity, courage, and calm. Let's begin this journey together. You may find that your most meaningful chapter is not behind you, but just now beginning. Affirmation number 1. I embrace this new chapter with wisdom and grace. When we truly embrace our current life stage rather than longing for youth or fearing further aging, something remarkable happens. We step into our authentic power. Aging isn't something to resist. It's something to step into with clarity and dignity. That's why the first affirmation to speak each morning is, I embrace this new chapter with wisdom and grace. It's no longer about proving our worth through past titles or accomplishments, but about reconnecting with the self that exists beyond the roles we've long since fulfilled. Take my friend Eleanor, a former corporate executive. She struggled with identity after retirement, her self-worth long tied to achievement and status. When that faded, she felt invisible. But as she began reciting this affirmation each morning, not as routine, but as intention, something within her quietly shifted. Retirement stopped feeling like a loss and became something else entirely, a new frontier, one where patience, perspective, and a quiet kind of wisdom, long overshadowed, could finally come forward and lead. This shift in thinking reflects what Stanford psychologist Dr. Laura Carstensen calls socio-emotional selectivity theory. As we become more aware of time's limits, we naturally focus on what matters most. Studies show that older adults who live with this intentionality report greater satisfaction and emotional well-being. We see a similar spirit in the Japanese philosophy of ikigai, the joy of living with purpose, no matter one's age or external achievements. This affirmation isn't about ignoring the challenges of aging, but about bringing our full presence and hard-won wisdom to meet them with grace. To make this practice stick, create a gentle morning ritual around it. Say the affirmation aloud while looking into the mirror with compassion. You might even pair it with a gesture, like placing your hand on your heart. Write it on a note and place it beside your bed or bathroom mirror as a daily visual cue. Try this tomorrow. Stand tall, take a deep breath, and speak the words clearly and slowly. I embrace this new chapter with wisdom and grace. Let yourself feel the truth of it, even if just for a moment. What would your day look like if you really began it with that kind of self-honoring intention? Let me know in the comments below. Just one line. I'm learning to embrace. Affirmation number 2. My experience is my greatest asset. As the morning light grows stronger and your awareness deepens, the second line to speak gently is, my experience is my greatest asset. In a culture that often idolizes youth and innovation, it's easy to overlook the immense value carried in lived experience. Yet every lesson learned, every challenge endured, every connection forged across the years has shaped a kind of wisdom that cannot be rushed and cannot be taught in books. Charles, a 72-year-old former architect I met at a community workshop. He once confided that he felt increasingly out of place in a world driven by rapid digital change. Everything he knows feels outdated, he shared with quiet frustration. But when he began each morning with the simple reminder that his experience was an asset, not a liability, his relationship with himself and his future began to shift. Rather than compete with emerging tools, Charles leaned into what only time could give. He began mentoring young architects not in the latest design software, which they already knew, but in timeless principles. How to listen to a client's unspoken needs, how to think structurally and ethically, how to navigate setbacks without panic. He realized his worth wasn't tethered to what was new, but anchored in what endures. The philosopher Aristotle called this kind of wisdom phronesis, practical wisdom rooted in judgment, character, and experience. Modern science supports this ancient insight. Research from the Berlin Wisdom Project shows that older adults are often better equipped to handle life's social and emotional complexities because they've lived through them. So when you say this affirmation, my experience is my greatest asset, you are not indulging in nostalgia. You are recognizing the deep reservoir of understanding you carry, built slowly and quietly over decades. If you're looking to integrate this affirmation into your morning rhythm, try this. Each day, think of one moment from your past, big or small, that taught you something lasting. Then ask, how might I share this today? Who could benefit from the clarity I've earned the hard way? You may find that what you once took for granted becomes your greatest gift to others. And when you begin to live from this place of remembered wisdom, something powerful happens. You no longer chase relevance, you radiate it. Affirmation number 3. Today, I choose joy and gratitude. I remember Margaret, whom I met at a community center writing group. At 75, she had experienced the loss of her husband of 50 years, a decline in physical mobility, and the passing of several close friends. One might expect her to speak with heaviness, but instead, she carried a quiet radiance. Each morning, she made a conscious choice to lean into joy, not in denial of her losses, but often because of them. Her husband's absence reminded her of the deep gift their 5 decades together had been. The ache in her knees became a gentle affirmation that she could still walk. To her, these weren't consolation prizes. They were genuine treasures. That simple practice reflects the third affirmation. Today, I choose joy and gratitude. This is the line I hope you'll return to every morning. It's not just uplifting, it's transformative. Because choosing gratitude and joy, especially in later life, is one of the most powerful ways to reframe loss, reconnect with meaning, and begin each day with emotional strength. It sounds gentle, but it holds quiet power. Joy and gratitude aren't merely emotional reactions to a good day. They're conscious responses to the reality we wake up to. Especially in later life, they become less about what's happening to us, and more about what we choose to see in what's already here. Margaret's story echoes the wisdom of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Choosing gratitude doesn't deny pain. It invites a broader view, where loss and joy can coexist. This perspective is backed by science. Dr. Robert Emmons, a leading gratitude researcher at UC Davis, found that older adults who practiced regular gratitude experienced better sleep, lower levels of physical discomfort, and a greater sense of emotional connection. And notice how naturally this third affirmation builds on the first two. When you've embraced your current season and come to value your lived experience, you start seeing blessings where younger eyes may have seen only limitations. So, how do you make this a real part of your life? Tip number 1. Tomorrow morning, place your hand gently on your heart and repeat, "Today, I choose joy and gratitude." Tip number 2. Follow it by naming 3 small things you're grateful for right now, not in general, but in this very stage of life. Because this isn't about toxic positivity, it's about reclaiming agency over your perspective. Think of someone in your life who could use a little more light in their mornings. Send them this video as a quiet gift, a way to say, your days still hold meaning, and joy is still yours to choose. Affirmation number 4, my journey continues with purpose. The Stoic philosopher Seneca, who remained prolific well into his later years, once wrote, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters." In affirming that your journey continues with purpose, you acknowledge that it's not the number of years that brings fulfillment, but the meaning we bring to each day. As the morning light deepens, we arrive at the 4th affirmation, my journey continues with purpose. This line addresses one of the quiet struggles of aging, wondering whether we still matter once titles fade, routines change, or roles like parenting and careers no longer define us. Robert, a 68-year-old former sales executive, experienced this deeply. After retiring, he felt adrift, as if his story had ended. He shared with me that people around him seemed only interested in what he had done, not what he still hoped to do. For a while, that belief left him feeling invisible. But when he began repeating this affirmation each morning, my journey continues with purpose, something shifted. At first, the words felt hollow, but over time, they became a quiet invitation to explore what still stirred meaning in him. He asked new questions. What purpose calls to him now? Where can his experience still serve? 6 months later, Robert launched a mentoring program for young entrepreneurs from underserved communities. It gave him not only renewed energy, but a deeper fulfillment than he had known in decades. He realized his purpose hadn't ended, it had simply evolved. Psychologist Erik Erikson called this stage of generativity, the drive to give back and leave a legacy. Research from Rush University found that a strong sense of purpose more than doubled the likelihood of avoiding Alzheimer's. And it's also linked to longer life, lower stress, and better heart health. This affirmation naturally follows our earlier choices. When we embrace our chapter, recognize our value, and choose joy, our sense of purpose becomes clearer, and often, it's quieter than we expect. Sometimes the purpose isn't a grand project. It's a thoughtful conversation, a hand held, a kindness extended. Tomorrow morning, speak these words slowly. My journey continues with purpose. Then ask, what gives my life meaning today? What small act can I offer the world that reflects who I've become? And if this reflection stirred something in you, press the like button to help others rediscover their purpose too. You never know whose story might still be waiting to unfold. Starting with a single line, affirmation number 5. I nurture my body and mind with kindness. The final step in your morning ritual is perhaps the most tender. I nurture my body and mind with kindness. Let this be your quiet promise. A daily act of devotion to treat yourself with the same compassion you'd extend to someone you love. It touches on a truth that grows more essential with age. The way we speak to ourselves, especially about our changing bodies and minds, deeply shapes our experience of growing older, not just in spirit, but in health, resilience, and daily well-being. My friend Helen, a former dance instructor, once shared how this principle changed everything for her. For years, she held herself to the standards of her younger body, treating each new limitation as a failure or betrayal. But when she began each morning with this affirmation, her relationship with her body began to soften. She stopped pushing through pain and started listening with patience instead. Her movements grew slower, yes, but more present and far more joyful. With a quiet smile, she told me, she still dances, but differently now. She doesn't chase what she used to do. She honors what her body can do today. And remarkably, this shift didn't shrink her world, it expanded it. Kindness had opened more than it limited. This is what the ancient philosopher Epicurus meant when he taught that real pleasure comes not from excess, but from inner contentment, from treating ourselves with gentle wisdom. And modern science agrees. Dr. Kristen Neff's research on self-compassion shows that treating ourselves with the same care we'd give a close friend, especially during moments of struggle, leads to better mental health, improved physical habits, and greater emotional strength. What makes this final affirmation so powerful is how it completes the circle of the four before it. When we embrace where we are, value our experience, choose joy, and continue with purpose, kindness toward ourselves becomes not only natural, but necessary. We stop treating self-care as a luxury and begin honoring it as a foundation for how we want to live. So tomorrow morning, place a hand over your heart and speak this affirmation softly. I nurture my body and mind with kindness. Then ask yourself, what does my body need today? What would nourish my mind? Whether the answer is more rest, a walk in the sun, or simply breathing deeper, follow it like a sacred instruction. Because in choosing kindness toward yourself, you strengthen everything else you hope to give. Conclusion. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." As we bring this reflection to a close, take a moment to hold the quiet power of these 5 affirmations. I embrace this new chapter with wisdom and grace. My experience is my greatest asset. Today, I choose joy and gratitude. My journey continues with purpose. I nurture my body and mind with kindness. Spoken with intention, these aren't just words. They're a daily invitation to live your later years with clarity, compassion, and courage. Aging may bring change, but it also brings perspective. And with perspective comes the freedom to live on your own terms. Make this your morning ritual for the next 7 days. Speak each line slowly. Feel its truth settle in your body. Notice what shifts within and around you. I'd love to hear how these small morning moments begin to shape your days. Share your experience in the comments, and take a moment to share this video with someone on a similar path. Subscribe and turn on notification for more weekly insights on aging wisely, living fully, and finding meaning in every season. If you want to deepen your journey, check out my video titled, "What Really Happens After 70? 5 Harsh Truths Seniors Need to Know." You'll find the link waiting for you in the description. Until we meet again, may these words guide your mornings, and may your mornings guide your life.